What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. It is the 5th day of November, and here we are sitting at about $103,000. And I want to talk about where we went wrong. Where we went wrong. First and foremost, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Secondly, I very thoroughly believe that we are still in a bull market. We're going to recover, move up higher, and see new all-time highs. But what do I mean where we went wrong? All this time, since the 10th here, for all this time, we've been, and actually let me use the index here, the all-time history index. We've been comparing this move from a high to a low to this low, right? So we've been looking at it. When I say all this time and I say we, I mean me, okay? This is what I've been saying, is from a high to a low, the market has been so dramatic because this is just an 18% drop. Every other drop we've had at a minimum has been over 20%. So while here and for a few weeks we were correct in saying that the market's being dramatic, comparing this drop to COVID, whenever this is literally the weakest drop of the cycle so far, maybe the thought here should have been, if it is the weakest drop of the cycle so far, perhaps there's more to go, right? That's what the first thing I want to talk about for a reason, right? Because again, if you're connecting the dots here, we were assuming this was the low, when really perhaps we should have looked back at what we've done throughout this cycle and seen that the minimums were 22%, 20%, 21% if I'm not mistaken right here, 21.7%, right? The minimum drops this cycle have all been above 20%. And that's exactly why we were making fun of this for the last couple of weeks is that the average participant is freaking out like this is some kind of catastrophic drop, and really it's an 18% drop, the smallest drop of the smallest drops that we've seen this cycle so far, let alone these 30% drops here. So the thought there might be, next time if we see a situation like this going forward, okay, we're being dramatic, it's only an 18% drop, but hold on, it's a small drop, maybe there's more to go overall, because now from a high to a low, if we measure this drop overall is 21.6%, which it's exactly the same now as all of these other drops, right? It fits right within this range. So now, do you hear what I'm saying? The reason why we're focusing on this at first, right? I'm not doing it just because I'm trying to say this is where I went wrong, but to more, and to say that specifically, but to also give a thought for the next time this happens for any of you who are watching this, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but the thought here is, right, maybe if you're looking at a low and it is pathetic and it is the smallest drop that we've seen so far, maybe that's because it's not done yet, right? Might be a nice thought, just for future references, especially when there's a ton of longs down at that level. And I mean, over the past 30 days, we've definitely cleared out a ton of those longs so far. There's only 2.4 billion. Yesterday, I want to say there was like 4 or 7 billion, I think, at the lows. Now there's 15 billion shorts over the past 30 days, while there's only 2.5 billion in longs. That is a like 7 to 1 ratio, you guys. That's crazy. That is pretty damn crazy. A lot of shorts, not a lot of longs, and for the first time in I don't know how long, we've got less than $20 billion in overall total positions, which is a very low amount of liquidity. You know, people are talking about how this government shutdown is, what's the word I want to look for, that I want to use, is putting a chokehold on the liquidity in the markets right now. I don't know if that's completely true. I hear the rationality behind it. The Fed did inject like $20 billion into the banking system recently, or was it like $30 billion? So there's definitely liquidity. There's avenues to inject liquidity into the system, but there's definitely a lack of liquidity whenever it comes to leveraged positions. So I could see the fact that the government shutdown's been going on this long, maybe it is actually affecting the levels of liquidity in crypto. Once the government shutdown ends, perhaps that's whenever these leveraged positions start to kick up again, maybe to the short side, and then we get a massive short squeeze, and then we start to move up. That might be what the market's waiting for. Whether it has a truly negative impact on the market or not, I think enough people believe that once the government shutdown is over in the United States, which from what I hear, from the rumors that I hear, and I'm sure we all hear, should be any day now, that should be when we pump. So perhaps right now we're just waiting for that. Perhaps we're just waiting for that announcement. I wouldn't be surprised also, kind of contrary to the thought that I just had there, where we were talking about we're waiting for the government shutdown to end before we pump. Perhaps what we see is a pump going into the days leading up to the shutdown, and then we get the shutdown news, and or the shutdown ending, the shutdown of the shutdown. Then we get the announcement that the shutdown is over. We pumped going into that news announcement. You buy the hype, you sell the news. We get a little sell off after, maybe the immediate days after the government shutdown does end, because again, it'll be priced in because there's insider information, right? Donald Trump and his family and his friends and their family and all their constituents will know the day that the shutdown is supposed to end before you and I do, right? Unless you're friends with them, tell me, all right? Let me know. Let's become friends ourselves so that we can have some inside information too. Right? Everybody else, whenever everybody else finds out that the government shutdown has happened, right? Imagine the shutdown happens here on the 16th of November, and it's probably not going to be that far out. But let's just say it happened here on the 15th now, 15th right there, just because that's where the line fell. We would pump going into that announcement that the shutdown is ending, and then we'd likely sell off, right? Buy the hype, sell the news, right? That's the one of the truest sayings in the space, man. Absolutely, it is. Anyways, just some opening thoughts there for you. Let's get into the TA. Okay, let's talk about this here. I know that I'm starting today a little bit late, but I've got excuses is what I've got, but really I just slept in. Let's just leave it at that. From a low here coming down, we are undoubtedly still in this megaphone pattern. Now, a couple of questions come to mind, right? Is this the right way to draw it? Are we more interacting with this line and we're just wicking below? Maybe, it looks pretty perfect there, but if we're being as perfect as we can, we've reached for this trend line. We have yet to hit the trend line. This is what is called a partial decline. And again, yesterday, and for the days leading up to this, I've been talking about how this was the partial decline, and that whenever you come up and then you come back down through that zone, this kind of behavior is typically more conducive with a downward sloping breakout, right? However, we've still yet to touch this trend line. We are finding support here, and one of the conditions that we had for breaking below this level here was that if you break below it, you need to get back up above it immediately. And here, 9 hours, 6 minutes left in the day. I don't know if we'll close above this line today, but as long as we keep moving up in a productive fashion, not dilly-dallying, not working our way back up here, I think that we will have a immediate proper reaction off of this, further validating that this is a partial decline still. Partial decline, my friends, is whenever the price reaches for the lower trend line. It cannot hit this trend line, and it can't hit this trend line because either the selling pressure is gone or the buying pressure is immense. And I would imagine it's a little bit of one and the same, right? The amount of people who were chomping at the bit to buy Bitcoin below 100K, think about it. We just opened up the doors for a historical moment right there. There is a class of human beings who just got the last bit of Bitcoin below $100,000 ever again in the history of humanity, depending on what the bear market looks like, at least. If not the history of humanity, then at least for several months, if not a year, right, for quite some time, for an extended period of time, one of the last moments that we'll have below 100K, to say the least. I think that might be the last moment ever in human history. Not only that was there buying pressure there, but who's going to sell at that point too? All the people who wanted to sell, they had ample opportunities to sell, right? Who's going to sell when we're right at prior areas of support, when we're right at that psychological level of 100K? So because of that, and with this megaphone pattern, just this partial decline, I think that we are going to see some recovery. And with that, if and when we do get above this line here, when we get above this level right here, 116.4K, we should be breaking out of this pattern to the upside. 116 point, the most important line might be new all-time highs, right? Isn't that an important line to watch? But I think this line has even more importance. I think breaking above this level here, mark my words, will be very significant. And once we get, I don't know how we move up to the line, how it looks, whether it's slow, whether it's fast, whatever, but I would bet once we break this line, we really unleash the beast. We start to see movement like this again, you guys. We start to see movement like we did back here in April, like we did back here last year in November. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. This might be exactly how November goes for us, you guys. We start off the month dumping, and then we rip, right? That's exactly how it happened last year, right? I actually want to see, from a high to a low, how much of a drop was this? That was a 9% drop in November. Here, so far in November, we've seen about an 11% drop. So it's a little bit more. But still, the same idea kind of at play here, right? I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a move just like this, right? This was the fastest 10-day period from a low to a high that we've had this whole cycle, from here to there, right? And that was back in November. Might we see some spectacular growth here as well? I wonder. If we're looking at the short-term stuff, zooming in, looking at the 1 hour time frame, that's a lot of volume at the lows, my friends. That's a lot of volume at the lows, right? What's that mean? Right? Whether it's red, whether it's green, what's that mean? Because every sell is a buy, every buy is a sell. Whenever you sell it to somebody that's buying it. Whenever you buy it from somebody that's selling it. So there's a lot of volume at the lows. What does that mean? There's a lot of transactions going on at the lows, right? And that's probably because people are buying, people are holding up the floor, and we're ready to go. That's my thoughts, at least. We're starting to build volume as we're moving higher. Okay, shorts far outweigh longs. It's very obvious, at least in my opinion, that we found the low, and people are afraid to go long right now. Right? Let's actually look at the past day. Let's see the past 24 hours. There are more longs than shorts, but still a very, I guess $3 billion in longs is a lot of longs for a 24-hour period. $2 billion in shorts still. It's very, very one-sided right now over the past 24 hours, but very one-sided over the past 30 days as well. We could see some volatility. So with that, don't be surprised. You know, I mean, here this hour is a perfect example. We started off this hour dropping down a good bit. We literally were at 103,000, dropped all the way down to 102,000, and now we're back up, right? So some volatility will definitely be there to shake out these leveraged positions along the way. If we're looking at the RSI, we do have bullish divergence here, right? Higher lows here, lower lows there. If this divergence is true, that should take us all the way up to about $107,000. If it's not true and we're misinterpreting it still, we have a downtrend of which we just broke out. Found resistance at the 50, found support at the 40, and now we're moving higher. I would think that we do move higher, and the real fun will probably start once we get overbought. Right? The last time that we got overbought on the 1 hour time frame, this is the price action that corresponded with that, right? Let's see. Right here. Were we moving up before we got overbought? Yes, we were moving up, but we moved up that much faster once we were in the overbought zone. So are we moving up now before we're overbought? Yes, yes we are. But we're going to move up faster. It's going to be a faster move. I mean, something that takes us back maybe even to 110K and beyond if we get into the 1 hour overbought zone here. The stochastics also, which being that it is the 1 hour time frame, would suggest that today, Wednesday, and the coming days could be promising. They could be fun. Right? I really do think that we're about to get the party started here, you guys. Stochastics are looking good. MACD overall is bearish, but you're building bullish momentum here. It's the 1 hour time frame. It's not that significant. We'll just say whatever. 4 hour time frame. Looking at this here, you did have a lower low. And I've talked about this before. Isn't it funny how we had this bullish divergence, but it's as soon as we get rid of it. It's as soon as we get rid of that bullish divergence, the thing that everybody was counting on to say that you have a low, as soon as you get rid of it, that's whenever you find your low. And it's a bit preemptive. I want to be clear. It's a bit preemptive to say that this is a low. I'm very confident that that is low. I think that going just below 100K, perfect levels of capitulation. I actually want to show you guys. Let's see. Let's go on my profile here. Because I've never seen this. I haven't seen this all cycle, and this was the most amount of votes I've seen for one thing. But let's just see if it still is ringing true here. Where are we? Where are we? No, did it get deleted? Oh, right here. Capitulation. This is what I posted. It was a repost of Rand Nooner's post. Rand Nooner has one of the largest YouTube channels for crypto in the space, okay? Yesterday, see now it says okay, no. Is the crypto bull market over? Right, 11,500 votes. That's not a lot of votes for how big of an account it is, but you know it's still like 10% of the views that got here. People are saying yes. For the first time all cycle, have we seen a sizable atmosphere, or a sizable, what's the word I want to look for, poll, where the majority of people actually think the bull market is over? I said not yet. I don't believe it's over yet. I like Iran. I don't know. Are you a sir? I don't know. 52.6% versus 47.4%, you guys. That is a huge difference, right? What we're saying here, again, just a thought, is that while we're at the low, while we're at the 50-week moving average, okay, while we're right here, the same levels that we were here, the same levels we were here whenever we found a low, right above this area here when we found our low, with every drop being 20 to 22%, except for these larger drops and these larger consolidation phases, we're seeing the average drop at the same place that we typically find support. And people are saying here that the bear market's over, or the bear market's beginning, the bull market's over, right? Nobody thought that throughout here. Everybody thought the bull market was on, but now they're at the low. People think the bull market's off, the bear market is on when we're at this area of support. I can't help but feel that we are going to move higher, you guys. And I actually want to see what's the fear and greed index look like right now, because it says 27. I think it's at 20, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it updated more. I hope we're in extreme fear. If we get below 20, we're in extreme fear, and that's a clear sign to bounce. But 20 is close enough, man. The last time that we were at levels of extreme fear anywhere, yeah, 20. The last time we were anywhere near this kind of level of fear was April 7th, which was our low point here, right? We've got all the similarities in conjunction with this, with all of these lows. We really do. And people are bearish now, more so than I think they've been throughout this whole cycle. But who am I to say that, right? Maybe I'm in my own echo chamber. Anyways, looking at the 4-hour time frame, zooming in here. Okay. Just some stuff to think about, right? When the herd gets bearish, maybe the smart investor should get bullish, right? Just a thought there. When the herd gets bearish, maybe the smart investor gets bullish. Just a thought. BTC USD 4-hour time frame. We got rid of the bullish divergence and now we're moving up. Stick that in your back pocket for later. Genuinely, it's as soon as we get rid of these divergences. People think that bullish divergence or bearish divergence is a necessity in order to turn the price around. Mark my words, this will help you too. Sometimes it's right when you get rid of the divergence, right at that moment. That's whenever it's the best time to turn things around. Stick that in your back pocket. That'll help you out, right? Not always, not always. It's on you to be kind of discerning what you're seeing in the charts. But anyways, the MACD, pretty bearish. Not really a whole lot to go off of here. It's bearish. It doesn't look good. It doesn't mean that we have to go lower. It was very bearish, and it didn't look good here, and we recovered. We still did go lower technically, but then we came back up. You know, it's typically at the very ass end of a move that you do look your worst. The stochastics are suggesting that we do move higher, probably over the days to come, right? Imagine we move up to the overbought zone at this trajectory, the trajectories that we've seen it do, right? Something like that. We'd be in the overbought zone then probably at some point tomorrow, Thursday or Friday, which means that we should see a spectacular finish to this week. That's great. We want to see a spectacular, because again, the thought here, when the 4-hour RSI or when the 4-hour stochastics gets overbought, right? We're talking about the process getting there, using these trajectories that we've seen before, kind of mimicking it here. It's not perfect. Maybe it's not Thursday. Maybe it's the very ass end of today. Maybe it's not Friday. Maybe it's the very beginning days or beginning moments of Saturday. Whatever it might be, but somewhere in that kind of time frame there will be overbought. Notice how when we're overbought is when Bitcoin comes alive, whenever it does its best work. We were moving up beforehand, but it's once you were overbought that you did your best stuff, right? Here you bottomed out, you were moving up, but once you got overbought, that's when I guess it's pretty similar movement there, but you continued moving higher nonetheless. Typically getting overbought is whenever you see your best movements. It's whenever you do get your best movements. So here, if we're going to be moving up into those days, then perhaps Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere in that kind of time frame, we are moving back up above 112K. And again, that thought there, if that's by the end of the week, if we're back above 110K, you guys, this week has serious potential, the opening week of November, to be a reversal week, to be a week where, it looks like this candle here from February 3rd, or I guess that's not February 3rd, that's February 24th, my bad. Or a week like this, the 24th, the very low point here that we had. A week like this, right? We have serious potential to put in a massive reversal weekly candle here. Very serious potential, but we have to be productive between now and going into the end of the week, right? And if the government shutdown is ending on Sunday or Saturday or Friday or next Monday, the government opens back up, it would make all the sense in the world that we pump going into the end of this week, and then maybe you buy the hype, and then once the news comes out, you sell the news. We start off next week to the downside, but probably recover and continue to grow as well. Again, it's not crucial that the price pumps continuously from here. It's just crucial that it does move up, I think, going into the end of this week at all, right? Next week we can do our thing. We can recover, we can move down, and we can move back up, whatever. But I think it's incredibly crucial that between now and the end of this week we do continue to move higher so that we can put in a reversal candle on this weekly time frame. Looking at the daily time frame now, zooming in a little bit more here. The daily RSI is right at the same areas that we've bounced from every single time since March, right here. The lowest readings technically that we've seen since February, right around our low points nonetheless. Looks like we're going to reject the oversold zone and come back up. That's a very bullish prospect right there, my friends. It's actually a very, very, very bullish prospect right there. The last time that we got oversold and we bounced, We had a nice little move here from roughly this same price all the way up to 116K. The time before that, whenever we had a move like that, we bounced, we were at about 107K, and that took us all the way up to new all-time highs. Every single time we bounced here, it's been very beneficial for Bitcoin. So I'm assuming that today, being the first day that we are bouncing, there's more to come, right? There's more to come. This is just the beginning of an overall recovery phase. Stochastics look like they want to bounce as well. That's great. And the MACD, to be fair on the daily, the MACD does look ugly. I don't like the MACD, but it doesn't like itself. It's been very, let's say, unreliable, right? Because here you're crossing above the zero. That should be a good thing. But nope, you were right at your top point. You're moving down. Here you're crossing below the zero. That should be a bad thing. You should be moving lower. But nope, you're right at your low. Here you're building momentum. Your histogram is actually stronger than this before. You should be trending. But nope, then you went lower, right? It's just it's very unreliable. And I think the reason it's unreliable is because largely we've been moving sideways. While yes, overall, this high to low drop was a 21% drop, 22% drop, we've largely been moving sideways. This has been a very well-kept range for the amount of time that we've had, right? I mean, we've really, and this is going back to a theory that I had back in August. We might have been consolidating. We're looking at this range, and this is a megaphone. This absolutely is a megaphone. It's a consolidation range itself, this whole zone right here. But if we really look at it, I wouldn't be surprised if other analysts were looking at this overall as a whole range. This overall range is one whole range. It might not be a pattern in itself. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a broadening top too. I don't know. I very confidently believe this is a megaphone pattern here, but I just think that we're overall in the same range. We've been consolidating is what I'm trying to say since May, you guys. When we break out from here, we're going to see some spectacular growth. And for that amount of consolidation, let's just say from this high to here, that's 24 weeks. For that amount of consolidation, we really haven't moved down that much. This is a very tight consolidation phase. The last time we had a tight consolidation phase that lasted anywhere near this long, and actually this one lasted much longer, I want to say, 31 weeks. I guess on the 24th week was the low. Wow, hey, look at, or the 26th week. Okay, 26th week was the low. 24 weeks here. Whenever we did break out, look at the breakout move that happened. This move from a low all the way up to this high, this was the largest move of the cycle, right? And I'm basically comparing this consolidation zone here to this. Very tight, very long, very nice move up, right? The most powerful, like, movement that we've seen this cycle as far as the shortest amount of time with the most amount of growth was here as well, and this was during a very long time of consolidation as well. We've been consolidating for a very long time, you guys. Very tight range. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw something that was akin to this movement going into the end of the year. Okay, from here, and maybe this takes a long time. That'd be 277K by April. Maybe we're there by April. Maybe we see that. But again, going into the end of this cycle here, going into the finale phase, if anything, we should see a stronger move. We should see a stronger move. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we did see something that's around $150,000 to $200,000 by the end of this year, and that move wasn't done there. It progressed higher going into next year. Okay, we're going to see a $300,000 price. We're going to see I think a $500,000 price by the end of this cycle. But it just depends. It really does depend on how high Bitcoin goes from here whenever we see this next move. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. One last thing to mention, and again, this is where I went wrong. I actually wish I included this in the beginning of the video. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're still here. But something else to think about is where on the weekly time frame you scope out, you look at the macro, where on the weekly time frame has the RSI been every single time that we reset, right? Every single time that we were at a low, we were at a low, we were at a low. The RSI was always at the same place, right? And here we were thinking, okay, look at this. It's more bullish. It's bouncing off the 50, right? Like it hasn't done that before and then still gone lower. The thought here might be, okay, so while we're getting a little bit of a rally for next time, the thought for next time might be while we're getting a little bit of a rally, that's nice. We still haven't complete the thought. We still haven't gone to our zone where we retest, where we restructure ourselves, and where we ultimately find support. So I really wouldn't be surprised in the least if this was the low. We're at the same area in the RSI now that we were every single time this bull market for a low. Even last cycle, we found lows at this exact same area in the weekly RSI. Stochastics look bullish. The MACD overall is bullish. I got nothing else to say for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Everything's fine. The bull market is saved. we're going to recover. We're going to see some spectacular growth, I think, over the coming days. And really, the rest of this month of November should be, and really the rest of the year as well, should be pretty damn good. Do keep in mind, little thought here, little closing thoughts. Do keep in mind that we will probably pump into the announcement of the government shutdown ending. And then once the government shutdown has ended, once it's concluded and that announcement, that news has become reality, we will probably sell off. We will buy the hype, we will sell the news. And maybe we get that news and there's an initial spike up, whatever. Maybe there's a little bit of volatility, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did sell that news. Okay, so just keep that in mind over the coming days, over the coming week when that announcement is perceived to come out, right? We'll see. But anyways, I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.